Patrick.
Your full name, please?
Lenahan. McBride.
Okay. What is your job title and description?
I'm a producer, and the description is I work in sports television production, so behind the scenes writing and editing for post-production, and sitting in the chair during live events, talking with announcers, cueing replays, all that kind of stuff.
All right. What is the education necessary for this job?
The education that would be beneficial is a bachelor's degree. I graduated with a degree in communications, broadcast communications, and management. And so it's good to have some experience in college with the different equipment and in different positions, so you have an idea of what everyone does. You can work camera, you can work audio, you can be in front of the camera, you can understand what the set looks like and how you design it. So all those different aspects that you learn in college, then you take that and apply them in the professional. So to have an education to understand how to tell a story, because even if it's not written on TV, even a live game is a story. There's a beginning, middle, and end. How you set things up, how you update things during the game, broadcast, and at the end of the broadcast, kind of bring it all together, tie it all kind of together. So there's a story there. So taking classes in writing, in journalism, English classes. There's a number of different core classes that you can take to have an understanding of how to do a better job than just showing up there and turning the camera on and say go, right? So it's preparing, and college helps you prepare.
So what college did you graduate from?
I graduated, I had to go far away to school, to an island out in the Pacific called Oahu. And I went to school at Chaminade University in Honolulu. It's a small school, but sometimes a small school gives you an opportunity, small classes, to do more. So I took advantage of that.
How did you get the job?
So I graduated, came back from Honolulu back here to Long Beach, and started working in a public relations firm not long after, and knew that I wanted to get into sports broadcasting. So I reached out to Prime Ticket, and they hired me as an intern. Usually you intern during school. I interned after, but after 6 months I started getting paid work.
Or what are your day-to-day activities?
My day-to-day activities. If it's everything from setting up the shoots, so understanding what the story is and lining things up and organizing what the time frame is going to be, who's going to be on the shoots, where it's going to be. Because sometimes, as an example here, if we're talking about, depending on what the subject matter is, you want the environment to match it, right? So if it's a warm, fuzzy feeling talking about family, you want to be in the home. If you're maybe talking about basketball, you might want to do it in a basketball arena, as an example. So you want that environment. So it's thinking about where it is we want these things to be done, and a lot of that then is homework and going on the internet and doing research, finding out about these people so you know what questions to ask, and then setting up the shoot, setting up the edits, looking at the footage later, so when you do go to edit the piece together, you're all ready to go with the editor. If it's a live event, it's getting organized with all the truck, the facilities that are going to go to the remote site, and putting all that together. So and the crewing. So there's a lot of work that goes on in advance of the shoot. There's a lot of work that goes on in advance of the live event, and that's what I do on a day-to-day basis. And then the day of, you show up and put it all together.
All right. What are some interesting aspects of the job?
You get to meet a lot of people. Some of it, backing up, some of it is just the challenge of finding a way to do something creatively that other people may not do it as well or as interesting. So it's finding a unique spin and angle to create something that's entertaining, and I like that. When that all kind of comes together and you finish the piece, or at the end of the event, if it goes well, there's a great feeling of accomplishment, that there's a rush to that. Meeting some really neat people and having an opportunity to tell their story, to put something together that makes them pleased with the job that you did and the way that you represented them, whether it be doing a profile on Colin Rockenbach or on a Hall of Fame athlete. I just did a beach volleyball event for Kerry Walsh, and that was the first one that they put on, and so trying to bring all those pieces together, which can be frustrating and tiring, but when it all comes together, it's a really good feeling.
Pays off.
So accomplishing something that, starting from scratch and having it all come together is a good feeling to that.
All right, what is your favorite part of the job?
The favorite part of the job, I would say growing to a point in my career where I have opportunities to do things that are noteworthy, that are seen, appreciated, and it's a good question. I'm not starstruck anymore, but it is neat to see some of these people, that have accomplished some great things, and some of it is inspiring. Being able to tell inspiring stories, and they can inspire me as well. So being around great, sometimes greatness, and being able to help other people along the way. I got a lot of help to get to to get my start, and then to get where I have become. And so giving other people opportunities like I got is a good feeling as well.
What is the coolest experience you've been a part of because of this job?
There's been a lot, but there's a couple come to mind. One is, most everyone's aware of the Olympics, but what you may not be aware of is a week after the Olympics, there's an event called the Paralympics for people that are physically handicapped in one way or another. It could be missing a hand, missing an arm, blind, deaf. And back in 2000, I went to Sydney, Australia, and was able to work on that for 2 weeks. And to see some of these athletes that just can't have as normal physical life that we can, but yet overcome what their disability is, to go out and swim without arms or legs, run around a track blind. That's inspiring. And that was really cool. So that I walked away from that, and each day I went back and had a journal of what I saw that day and shared that via email. That was really cool. Going to some really neat football games. The 100th Ohio State and Michigan game at Michigan was neat. Be at the Rose Bowl when USC played Texas in 2005 for the national championship was neat. Game 7 of the World Series with the Angels when they beat the Giants, being in the truck with Major League Baseball on the field after that. So there's been some really neat experiences in those kind of historical moments.
You've said you've met and interviewed a lot of professional athletes and former professional athletes. Who's been your favorite?
One of my favorites is Tony Gwynn. He's from Long Beach and is one of the best hitters in Major League Baseball, but he's also just a really good dude. You don't see an ego in him at all. And I got to tell his story about 5-6 years ago, and he passed away like a year and a half later. And so getting a chance to sit with him and talk about Long Beach and about his going to Long Beach Poly and how he got to Long Beach or San Diego State and his career. But he's so humble and down to earth, and so when you meet those guys, because there's a lot of athletes that when the camera's not on, they're not the nicest people in the world, they have egos. But when you meet some guys that have accomplished greatness in life and they want to know more about you than they want to tell you about themselves, that's pretty cool. So Tony Gwynn is certainly one of them.
All right, thank you.
That's a wrap.